This is Orcs Must Die 3. We're on Xbox Series X taking a look at this third main entry in the Orcs Must Die series. This is a tower defense where you play an active role in the battlefield, grinding out orcs, battling along, and having generally a great time. This is an absolutely fantastic series, and, well, basically one of my favorites. I really do genuinely enjoy what this series has to offer, and I've had a lot of fun, playing the games over the years. Originally on the 360, then the second on PC, then the weird multiplayer type one they did. I played that on PC and on PlayStation and some testing, and then I played this on Stadia last year, and now I'm very happy to be here on the Series X showing this off here. So we're going to push towards a 4K resolution at 60 FPS with auto HDR support. It features a number of different modes, including the regular campaign, a continued campaign called Drastic Steps. So it's kind of like the DLC stuff that released Stadia-wise that expanded the experience a bit more. You've got an endless mode if you just want to keep on grinding the orcs. That's what we're actually showing off here, because I thought that would be the best way to kind of present, a good chunk of what the game is sort of like and give you an idea of things. And there's also some other little weekly mode challenges and other different ways to kind of play and interact with what the game has to offer. And again, this game is an absolute blast. It is fantastic. It is well done. It's got a good story. It's got great characters. It's a neat expansion over the concepts in previous titles. And yeah, it's just something I really do genuinely enjoy playing. And I think it's something that a lot of people can have a ton of fun with and can play for countless hours. This is just a very expansive sort of offering that I think is a bundle of joy and just a great time. And there's so many different ways to sort of battle and so many different challenges and so many different types of orcs. And then there's different ways to change basically how you interact with the enemies. So we've got my traps here. And as you can tell, I've actually improved my traps. So every level, you're unlocking these skulls. And these skulls are used to essentially improve your traps. So if you ever get any of them coming here, these are like fire-infused, wall traps, arrow walls here, so they burn enemies. And then there's different enemies that have different types of weaker elemental damage. And then my kind of floor trap spikes here, they do an arcane damage. So you get a mix of different options for combat and how you play. So it's a game of actual strategy and combat. You may see me getting involved, but over time, the best strategies are the ones where the traps do most of the work. And it's just a really neat setup. This is also something that's got cross-gen multiplayer because it supports 2-player online co-op if you want to play with a friend, which I think is a really nice option. I would love for someday if they could get the whole series sort of upgraded and running on the modern consoles. I think that would be really cool to have. But for now, I'm very excited and happy that Orcs Must Die 3 is available. Like I said, I really love this series. It's a lot of fun. It's zany, it's wild, it's over the top. It's filled with surprises and different challenges and ways for you to kind of battle and take on the orc menace and just really neat environments. So this is a really regular set traditional level. But that's not always the case in this one. This game introduces really massive scenarios. So you get these war battles where you get huge traps to use, and there are hundreds, I want to say thousands of orcs coming in against you, and you have to deal with that. And I think it's a really neat setup to do these big, large-scale battle scenarios, because it's not something we've ever seen in the series. And I know that might sound odd, but that's really what they were going for when this released on Stadia, was only the cloud can make this possible, and it's just kind of funny to, kind of see that available here, and the console's handling it absolutely fine. It seems like performance is just smooth. I haven't really had any issues at all that I can really think of that were oh, nothing's really stood out to me. It seems to be all running fine, playing really good. I'm just, quite happy that this is something that is available on the platform. I had a feeling we would eventually get it, but definitely a thanks to Google Stadia, of all things, right, for the fact that we get to enjoy this game, because they basically paid for it to be made. and then now we get to enjoy it on other platforms. It's, you know, for me, it's just quite a treat to be able to play the Orcs Must Die series, because it's something I do genuinely love so much, because I think it's just absolutely fantastic. And what's cool about this endless mode is it's only going to get more and more intense. Like, this is just, you know, kind of the opening. Things are just going to keep going and going. But I should also mention that if you're playing the game regularly, what's really neat about it is that there are a wide range of different enemies that you get to face off with. So this is like a bit of an, I guess technically an earlier endless type match setup. So when you first start off, you know, the endless mode kind of gives you only a few options, and you get more endless options as you progress. And then you get to a certain point within the levels that you're getting more and more fierce enemies to deal with. What is... oh, come on with this. This is ridiculous. This is not good at all. They destroyed that barricade. See, I don't like when this happens, because that really shouldn't have been attracted by those enemies. See, your strategy can totally fall apart if something goes a little bit wrong with the AI. It's usually pretty good, and it seems like over the Stadia version, they have, you know, adjusted certain elements of how things sort of, I don't know, like, run in that, and it seems like they've, I don't know, fixed this correct word, but they've definitely made some areas a bit more challenging too, which is neat. But it's just neat to think about how the AI sort of responds to the environment. So maybe there was an explosive guy that got through or something. That could have been the issue there. So I'm also hurt quite a bit, so I'm going to go back to my sort of spawn area here, my portal rift. This is what we're defending, because it's a tower defense, so enemies kind of get funneled inwards here. And you have to protect these areas from, you know, all the orcs coming. But going back to what I was saying with those enemies, there are a wide range of different enemies that come towards you in this one. So I'm wondering if it was an explosive guy that caused that damage. It's just weird that this was... I'm going to start putting some traps here just to help out, and maybe some more of these mages, because there's no reason they should have been able to get by there, I don't think. So you also get different traps to deal with that. And what's neat about it, as I mentioned with the different skulls that you get, you basically are able to both enhance and improve your traps, but you can also unlock new traps to use. And it seems like they've added quite a few traps within this one from when I last played it on Stadia to cover, you know, the launch of the game. So it's kind of exciting to have all these new toys to play with, and as you progress you get options to buy even more of them and use different ones. And it's neat that the levels are really quite beautifully done. I want to say that. If you're coming back from the older Orcs Must Die series, I think these are some of the best maps they've ever made. Just in terms of, A, some of them being fair, and B, some of them being really creative challenges, and having you to really think about how you're handling scenarios, how you're facing off against these characters. Because it might seem somewhat easy right now, but I'm using a good focus of like barricades to create, you know, these funnels of death for the enemies that are coming my way. And like you saw over here, you know, my strategy can fall apart pretty quickly if things don't quite perfectly line up for me. It can be a real issue. So it's all about being smart with your strategies and creating a system that is, you know, effectively taking out your foes as they're coming towards you, and then you kind of doing the assist to pick off enemies that are also, you know, in the way. So that's why we're doing a lot of these archers. And then my goal is to also kind of protect the archers this way if I can, so that the enemies aren't, if they do get by here, because eventually, you know, doing endless they will, so that the archers, you know, don't get affected. But what's really, truly neat about this one is the sense of scale to it and the different beautiful environments. The artwork and stuff really shines through. There's great cinematic points. The sorceress is basically dealing with these two recruits that are kind of being trained. You get to pick which one you want to play as, and you can change their weapons too. Like I got, like, you know, the sword option for her as well. But her gun is kind of the effective way to deal with enemies, at least in my opinion. But yeah, like I'm saying, the sorceress is kind of like, oh, you know, Max or whatever, the hero from the games. Because, you know, the sorceress became a good person too after like the first one. But there's like a whole narrative thing if you're really interested in like the lore of it. But she's basically taking care of the, you know, these recruits. And that's the style of the story, is you're in here, you're learning the ropes. You're also hearing about these ancient battles that happened with like the old sort of like big mage guy that taught you in the original games. So that's kind of neat that you're getting that mix of storytelling within this, in the cinematic moment. So I think that's generally decently well handled. I mean, I'm quite happy about how that was displayed and presented, and I think it's just really neat that they were able to do that sort of thing within this one. What is going on here, and why are they getting through the barricades? I really don't understand this at all.
I need to regenerate mana.
I think it's the explosive guys. See, these guys are sneaking in, and I don't like that. And I think they might have... Oh god, they are going to get to the portal. I am not fast enough. See, I don't understand how they are actually getting through that area that effectively. I think I need to redo how the barricades are handled here or something, because we should not be getting enemies that close to my archers, actually, in all honesty. So I think I've got most of them. No, did they get into the rift? Oh, they snuck by me and got into the rift. Well, there goes doing a flawless strategy. I mean, it's endless, so this was, bound to happen eventually, but it's just kind of like, obviously my strategy is not working on this particular one. It worked in the campaign, and I think I had a flawless streak on this level. So I'm kind of wondering how they're getting that close to my archers might be the big thing, and that maybe I need to double up a bit. Might be the issue. Yeah, I'm thinking that's the problem here, is those characters are causing issues as they get close. The explosive guys are basically allowing the enemies to get through my defenses a little bit easier. Oh, and they've broken that barricade over there too. That would make sense as to why they're not getting funneled in properly. Got it. And the double onslaught from both sides. I see what's happening here. Because you gotta remember, we're kind of beyond the waves of the regular map setup. So that's why we're having things going on here. So we need to deal with the explosive guys a little bit better with our grinder, our meat grinder setup. But yeah, like I said, this is just gonna get more and more insane because there's just so many enemies that are gonna be, kind of coming this way, if that makes sense.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I don't know if I want to kind of send them around almost. I'm just trying to think of the best way to kind of get these characters, the explosive ones, dealt with a bit more before they come. So we do have some points that I can spend here, because I sort of want to slow them down a bit before we get to a point where they're actually kind of getting around here. Sort of thinking how dynamically we can actually tunnel them on this one.
That'll work.
If we can sort of move them around here almost, and sell that trap, and maybe get some more like arrow type or like these plates kind of going on here, just to slow them down before they actually get to a point of doing damage against my defenses. So we got this set up here, so that moving them around that way. We obviously lost the barricades here, which is a big issue. See, I love the strategy and the setup that is involved in playing this game well and doing a good job with it. So I just want to mostly say that I really do genuinely love this series. It's a lot of fun. It's maybe not necessarily a perfect game, but it has a really high-end quality to it. It's packed with content. There's so many ways to play and enjoy what this has to offer. I think it's a lot of fun. If you like the core gameplay loop of sitting here and doing this tower defense, I think this is something that you can, play a lot of, and you can enjoy a lot of different challenges and face off against a lot of enemies in unique setups and environments. And it's a fun challenge to sit here and come up with ways, to deal with all of these enemies. I kind of am almost wondering, and this might sound odd, maybe setting up some barricades over here, and then putting some archers back there to shoot the guys that are coming. I think that might actually be a smart plan. I'm just wondering if anybody trickled through. Doesn't quite look like it. it's just almost like a perfect tower defense game to me. You know, and I think they were onto something beautiful here, and I'm really curious to see if they're gonna, you know, maybe push to expand this one more, or if they're going to attempt to do like another, like a follow-up at some point. Because I know the biggest part for me is that I want more from this series. I want to play more of the Orcs Must Die franchise. I'm just kind of really excited to see where they go next. Like, my idea was to sort of funnel them around through here, if that makes sense, in order to take out more of the enemies. But they've just got so many cool scenarios and different like tricks for you to enjoy and work with and battle with. Oh, we got Mr. Moneybags! That's exciting. I really love some of the bigger maps. You can kind of send them all the way one way, and then they get stopped, and they have to come around the other way, and it's just like a big, helpful thing. But Mr. Moneybags is like a big, big sort of cash payout for you if you can take out Mr. Moneybags.
There's no way.
So he just gives you some extra cash, which is nice. See, it's a little worrying that they actually are starting to get by here a bit more. So obviously my strategy, I need to adapt more for this back area too, in order to deal with the problems along this way, because they are starting to sneak in more and more. See, the funnel techniques are really good if you can get them set up properly, and you can really root your enemies in different dynamics. But I think I've mostly covered all the basis of what I want for this one. It is a fantastic game. It is fun, it is enjoyable, it is dynamic. I could sit here all day grinding out orcs and having a great time with it. And I think there's few titles that really offer, you know, such a distinct sort of setup. Maybe I should have pushed them around even more. I don't know. Oh, we're starting to get those things? Those are deadly. So those ones are kind of hardcore because they like sort of jump barricades and they like stun you and attack you, and you know, they can be real problems. And I was also thinking maybe I could set up a little middle defense here and have my archers sort of firing into that area. But yeah, like I was saying, I think review-wise I've kind of gone over everything I need to, and at this point I'm just doing some extra fun gameplay to show off how insane this actually like gets. Because we're only on wave 11, and like I said, this is like an endless sort of battle to where things start to get even more insane. But I think we need some more archers over here, because this is definitely an improving strategy to my battle scenario there for sure. And they are still getting through. Oh, no, they broke the barricade? Oh, crap, I'm actually screwed here now. This is going to be like a natural conclusion to this, because there's no way I'm going to be able to hold these guys off. I can't believe it did that. Like, it doesn't make sense that they're able to actually destroy those barricades, because it just totally screws my strategy entirely, which is not fair. But nothing is fair when you're battling orcs. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna make it through this part. Should I get some of the stragglers? Alright, let's try to see what exactly happened here. So they somehow broke both of my barricades. It must have been the explosive guys that did it. So I'm just kind of wondering where they came from. From over here? Yeah, it's these explosive guys that keep destroying my barricades there and then just totally messing my strategy. So all my archers are gone. That's not good. I need to get health. So usually you could also get like a health amulet. But I don't really waste my hand storage with that. So they're going to be coming through pretty aggressively here, because my archers are all dead. So we just need to reset up the floor with a bit more of those things. And I hope my archers over here are a little bit protected, but they're definitely blowing up more of my barricades. It's those damn explosive guys. They are definitely a problem. It actually kind of works having just the one barricade in the middle, sort of like tunneling some guys that way and some guys the other way. Because I want my archers over there to do their job. Just wondering if they're gonna... I need to kind of toughen up this area even more, I guess. Just in case they break down that way.
Not so tough now.
Not so tough now, indeed. So I'm hoping that maybe helps with the archer, or with the archer defense a little bit. Because the archers are supposed to cut down those guys. And then over here, these archers do these guys. Okay, so we got
Extra credit.
not much of an extended budget. Because I want them to go around, but I also want them to die before they trigger and blow up my barricades. So these guys are effective. They're doing their job. Did my other guys get to come back? Yeah, my archer fleet is back and ready to go. See, you would think that this many amount of, like, archers would be able to handle, you know, like a flowing of enemies coming in. You think the archers would just, like, pulverize those enemies?
Big or small, I can take them all down.
What barricade is under attack? I definitely think I need to monitor this area even more. I wonder if I can catch some of them coming out of
This will surprise them.
this area right here more. But I think those archers on the one side there are a very good strategy. Just about creating and funneling. That's the biggest part of this game strategy, is
I
like,
need to regenerate mana.
how do you stop these guys from getting through? How do you kind of put them in situations where they're getting grinded up even more intensely? That's my goal, is just to make it hard for them to get by. Okay, let's see. Let's increase our archer effort a little bit here even more, so... Prepare the volley! Oh, and then they blew up this barricade again. So maybe... I don't know if this would be possible, if I could kind of route the enemies around that way even more, or kind of get them to funnel down the middle. The biggest issue is the explosive guys. When they rush in, they kind of destroy the barricade setup. Otherwise, you could technically go forever until the creatures start... Oh, I died. That's not good. It's not good at all.
Back.
The barricade is under attack.
What barricade is under attack?
Hello, running out of mana.
Did they blow up the barricade back here? I think they did.
They've destroyed the barricade.
Which barricade did they destroy? See, this is getting pretty intense.
I need a bigger challenge.
I don't know if we need a bigger challenge. There's like a lot of works kind of like slipping by here. So they've destroyed all of those barricades. And they blew up all the barricades over here? What is the meaning of this? You've got to be kidding me.
Perfect placement.
Okay. So they decimated all of these barricades somehow. Whew. It's going to be a bit of an issue. And it's all the explosive guys. I see. So they just instantly destroy my barricades, these ones.
They've destroyed the barricade.
Okay, so those are like souped up explosive guys that destroy barricades.
Can't cast without mana.
Huh. So this is going to be the last round for sure. Because there's no way I'm taking on this many enemies in this area. Yeah. Because that's actually kind of cheap though, isn't it? Like the fact that they can just insta-destroy the barricades, because it kind of defeats the purpose of me setting up an effective grinder.
Easy.
Yeah, because then it gives you barricades to move troops around. And that's an advantage to you, but then they can just send out these things that instantly blow up all of your barricades without any sort of defensive, like, stopping them.
I'm not feeling so
I don't think I'm going to be able to hold the line here, I gotta be honest.
We only have half our rift points remaining.
I'm giving her all she's got.
School bell.
Don't dance, we lost. Do 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 do. Survivor. 10 waves in a match. Okay. So I also wanted to show off a war scenario. So this is the really big style of war. This is when you get to things where you can use mega traps and just absolutely send these orcs flying. So we're gonna set this up here. I want to make this one move there. And basically, you just get these absolutely massive traps to use, which are quite effective against your enemies. And then on top of that, there are just like hundreds and hundreds of orcs that like start coming down upon you, which is exciting. And you know, this is what I was talking about earlier. You set up the barricades on this side, and it just sort of like completely prevents them. They go down that way, and then they come back all the way around that way. This would actually be a really fun sort of endless map, I guess you could say. This would be really enjoyable in that regard. And then we unleash the horde. But yeah, you're gonna just see from once we get to the top here, there are just like fleets and fleets of orcs coming in. Maybe this wasn't the best example level, but there is one where there's just like so many coming. But you'll start seeing them. Like they're pouring in. Like they're getting ready to battle. See, these ones are gonna go all the way around that way and then come back all the way around the other way, which is quite exciting.
Well, well, well. Those dynamite archers could pose a problem.
Yes. Remember to fight them far from any barricades.
Are we?
So anyways, these things are just gonna be like launching the orcs. Woo! Look at them go. Trying to save us some points to get some archers going on though. Because the archers will just do insane volleys in order to like slaughter the hordes.
Simply impossible.
This is where I'm talking about. You also get to use the old war mage in this one. Back in the day, because it's 150 years ago from the current storyline, obviously.
No, I can't. I can't do that.
The Cobalt runners are always a major issue. In every match you play, they always sneak by. They're the biggest threat to your work. I don't know, grinding existence, I guess.
I cannot. I must conserve my power.
Okay, now I can set up some set up some orcs, get some orc decoys, you know what I'm talking about. But now I'm gonna set up some archer fleets. See, these ones are cool because it's just like a massive amount of archers, and they just like absolutely slaughter things.
This will surprise them.
But it looks like some of them are getting towards my gate, so the gates are kind of important because you don't want them to break those down, because that really changes how your strategy is set up, and it's a bit of a pain, that's for sure. See, with this guy, it's better to do the ranged weapons. And then even more orcs are coming in. Like I said, there's like 5 waves of this too, and there's like ends up being even more and more of them. It just feels like such a good sense of like scale. But it's just fun to have this many, I guess you could say, enemies going around. And by the end of this, you'll have like, you know, a whole pile of these archers sitting there just like annihilating all of these orcs that are coming in on you. Anyways, that's basically Orcs Must Die 3. I know it was an extended look at it, but I hope you enjoyed as much as I have playing this game and seeing it on the platform. It's kind of like really a dream come true, seeing this franchise return to the console. Again, to be able to more like easily play it like this. Yeah, it's an exciting game.